City are suddenly 17 and a half minutes away from being crowned Premier League champion. There's the full-time whistle. West Bromwich Albion have beaten Manchester United, and Manchester City are English League champions for the 5th time, and for the 3rd time in the Premier League era.
Yeah, there you go. The City season that was for Manchester City.
I'm not one to give Richie McCormack any stick, because those montages are always great, but it was 24 years last week since Oasis released Supersonic. Surely it was Supersonic time on that montage there.
Yeah, with the City links and everything.
Yeah. Anyway.
We'll just talk about it in the studio. We won't say it to his face when we go outside. Midway through that montage, we heard, I was on commentary for the derby. That's December, when Otamendi gets that winner. We knew it was done that day.
Yeah.
And the way City celebrated afterwards, there was the whole Jose Mourinho Ederson episode in the tunnel, and City were down in front of the away end, and you just felt that day United and City and everybody in football knew the title race was done in December. So maybe that's why, and it's part of the reason why yesterday was just so subdued, and because we've just known it's coming for months.
I think that's been the case over the last few seasons, that the title's been done in many people's minds in what 3 or 4 months before the season's ended, hasn't it? It's been done January, February.
Certainly the last two, when Chelsea won 12 in a row.
Chelsea and Leicester probably done early enough as well, I would think, anyway. So that's the thing that just kills it a bit, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, we really need a title race next season, don't we?
We do. I'd like that. And it'd be good if, like, now what's happened with Liverpool and United over the last couple of years as well, when they've fallen away, it'd be good if those two, even a Chelsea, a Tottenham, whoever it would be.
Well, I genuinely felt going into the season 5 potential Premier League winners, and yet it's been the most one-sided title race we can ever remember. Former Manchester City and indeed Republic of Ireland defender Richard Dunne is joining us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you?
Did you celebrate as profusely as Vincent Kompany?
Yeah, he looked wild, all right. No, it was a quiet one for me. I watched actually a bit of the United game, and I was more surprised by how bad they were than plays for Man City are at, and it was terrible by Man United. So, but it's just the way the season has been. I just heard you speaking there. It's been so one-sided, and it's been I suppose it's been over, as you say, since Christmas, and it's just been a matter of time, really.
Rich, you know that you talked there about the celebrations and things like Dave's talked about them there. I know sometimes, we've probably been in that position before ourselves. You don't necessarily want people filming it. You don't necessarily want it to get out. But it was nice to see the togetherness that they showed us as a team there, because, players now are getting accused of maybe lacking that sort of empathy with fans and maybe lacking that sort of social integration. So it was nice to see them having that bit of a laugh last night, wasn't it?
It was good. It was like you say, if it's gone now. Players are terrified of being out and being caught or being on cameras and that. So it's one of the moments, probably the only moment in the season, when you've just won the league, that you're entitled to go out and let your hair down a little bit. And yeah, it was nice that they shared it with the fans, and I'm sure it'll be a memory for the fans for a long time. But it's a well-deserved celebration. They've been brilliant this season, and it's just been, I suppose it's just been on ice for a while. They've just been waiting to finally get over the finishing line.
How impressive a Premier League win do you feel it's been, Richard, in comparison to teams that we've seen over the last 25 years? Because there are people who are insisting, and we heard it in the montage there, that this is the best football they've ever seen played in the Premier League. They're as impressive a team as we've seen in the Premier League era. There'll always be debates and arguments over the 99 United side, the invincible Arsenal side, that great Chelsea side under Jose Mourinho. But how impressed over a 38-game season, well, we're not at the very end of it yet, have you been by what City have achieved and the way they've done it?
Yeah, they've been fantastic. I mean, every team that's won it over the last 25 years has the right to claim that they were the best or whatever. But for me, this Man City team, the way they play is just so exciting that you want to watch them on a Sunday or whenever they're on the TV. You want to watch all their games because you know you'll be entertained. They play football the right way. They try and win every match, and even if they get 3-4, 5-0 up, they still want to go and score more goals. There's never that mentality to sit back and hold on to what they've got. They always want more, and I think that's what fans want to see. Fans want to be entertained, and certainly the prices for tickets now, when people pay, they want to go and they want to be entertained, and that's what City have done this year. They've been non-stop and been relentless in their attacking, and it's been a joy, and they've got the rewards for it.
We touched on something earlier, Rich, regards to City probably had the strongest squads over the last 5 or 6 years now, and perhaps maybe could have won 1 or 2 more Premier Leagues over the course of that spell. Do you think now that City have got the squad in place with a view to maybe perhaps building towards next season and beyond, that they could actually go on a run now of win 2 or 3 Premier Leagues on the bounce?
I think they'll be very difficult to stop now. I think they're that far ahead this season that it's going to be it's a huge gap for the other teams to try and close over the course of one summer. I know Liverpool have done well recently, but the whole thing is over the course of a full season, and Liverpool have shown over the last few years they can beat City on the day, but they tend to slip up throughout the course of a season. So I think it is going to be difficult for the other teams. I think Man City will continue to build and strengthen their squad, and as long as they have Pep and his style of football and the way that they play, they're going to be very hard. It's going to take another manager really to come up with a game plan that can stop him and that can have his team play his own way and try and dominate games like Man City have.
But I wonder, Richard, have you seen something in the last couple of weeks and what's been a really interesting fortnight for Manchester City that might just give encouragement to some of the other teams? Because Liverpool and Manchester United have both shown that they can be got at. Tottenham had their moment as well at Wembley on Saturday evening. And while you do expect City to invest again, and they will have the likes of Mendy back, they definitely need improvement in the left full-back position, that all is not lost, that there are at least signs that if you have a really good look at City and do your homework, that maybe not over 38 games, but you can certainly have a go at them on any given day.
Yeah, there's vulnerabilities there in the defence, and there is opportunities to get at them, but it's being brave enough to do it, because if you leave yourself open, they'll destroy you at the other end. And it's in terms of them going forward and winning the Champions League, they certainly need to strengthen again. They need to get maybe a stronger someone who can help Fernandinho, and also another centre half, another dominating centre half, because they have got them weaknesses when people attack them, when people put them under pressure, they make mistakes. But over the course of the season, there's not enough teams in the league to press them. And the difference is when they go away and play so-called tough away games, they go to win. Whereas their title rivals just go to not lose, and they're happy to pick up points, where City always wanted 3 points. And that over the course of the season is what tallies up and has given them the lead that they've got now.
Do you see, something that Dave has touched on there, is that the last week or so that they've had with the defeats to United and Liverpool, do you see that is where the only challenge could come from last season? Or do you think that perhaps maybe if you could see a Tottenham, you could see a Chelsea, or is it just about maybe even Liverpool, I suppose, the way that Liverpool are playing? But is that the bracket you're looking at, Liverpool, United, the only ones that could seriously challenge?
I think so. I think Tottenham, they continue to do well, but they don't strengthen enough in the summers. I think they need to add maybe 2 or 3 players this summer. I think certainly Liverpool and Man United have the financial backing to be able to form a strong squad this summer, and Liverpool have been building for a couple of years and look really strong now. It's just with Liverpool whether they have that consistency over the season. I mean, he's building a really strong side, and maybe now he has settled on a goalkeeper and he is happy with his centre halves, and that can push them forward. But even that, at the moment, I think it's 16 and 17 points is the gap between City and Liverpool and United. So to make that up over the course of the season is very hard. They're a long way ahead, and I know it will be harder for City because teams will want to beat the champions and all that, but the way they play, it just don't seem like stopping. There's no give up in what they do, and next year the aim will be the Champions League, I suppose, and they'll all be performing again, trying to keep on top form and keep pushing. So it is going to be difficult, and like just chatting there about making the league competitive, and you really do hope that Liverpool and Man United certainly can keep up with them.
It is interesting, Kev, that Richard mentions the Champions League, because we've already mentioned that derby win in December at Old Trafford, where everybody knew that was the end of it. The gap was, I think, that had increased it to 9 at that stage. And the way that they went out to Liverpool and those back-to-back defeats, how much of the credit they get for winning the league and how much of the euphoria around winning the league has been diluted by the way that they've gone out in that Champions League quarter-final when they were many people's favourites to win the competition.
Yeah, well, they were rightly favourites going into that game. I didn't see. Yeah, of course they lost the two legs well over the two legs against Liverpool, but I personally didn't see all the furore around it suggesting that look, they're a side that's gone. There was is there even questioning Guardiola?
So we were talking about a quadruple at one stage.
Yeah,
and then they go out in the quarters of the
is that
Champions
realistic?
League. Wigan beat them in the FA Cup.
Is a quadruple realistic given the squads that
we were genuinely talking in those terms though, weren't we?
Yeah,
we thought they have the squad to do this.
And I think the standard of football they were playing, yes, but I don't see it being realistic now. I can't see that the pace that City play at and the energy levels that they've had to reach to play at the level they're playing at. I don't see them being able to replicate that across the four tournaments. For Pep Guardiola to win a double now this season, albeit the League Cup and the Premier League double, I think that's a good season. I think take nothing away from him, and something that we've touched on, the level they were playing at, we've not really seen the level of consistency like City have shown across the course of this season by anyone. So that's where I'd look and think you've got to give them credit for that.
What do you think, Richard? Is it so much of a downer in the way they've gone out and going out in the quarter-finals as well, given all the money they spent, that we should be expecting Manchester City to be winning the Premier League every season, and really we should be measuring them by how they perform in Europe?
It's hard to say it's a downer. They still won the league, and like Kev says, they won the cup as well. But it was certainly disappointing because I think if you look at Manchester City as a club and a business now, their whole project at the moment is to try and be the dominant team in Europe. At the moment, they're not getting there, and I think for Pep as well, it's his last, I think it's 6 or 7 seasons or whatever it is in it, haven't been as successful as his previous ones. So he'll be anxious to try and get back to winning it as well. The European competition is so difficult. You just look at the top teams around Europe, and it's anyone who's won the league. I think there's only Bayern Munich who are left in it, who have a chance, who will have won their league. And it's the teams, when they don't win the league, they seem to switch off from the league competition early and concentrate just on the Champions League. So they can rest players, they have people fresh for the big games, and it makes it difficult. But I think it's very hard for the team to go and win all 4 tournaments now because it's so just one off day, and then that can be the end of it. And like they had at Anfield, they had a bad half an hour, and the tie was over.
Rich, do you ever get that feeling when you're around City that is what? And yeah, we've heard the talk around the owners what it is, that is what they want. They want the European Cup, they want the Champions League. But do you feel as though there is that pressure on Guardiola from the owners to actually secure that, and it's not necessarily all about the Premier League, or is it for them the big prize is desperately what they want is to win the Champions League?
Seemingly, yeah. I think that's what they want is the Champions League. They want to be known as the biggest club, the best club in Europe. The problem they've had over the last, I don't know, I think it's 12 or 13 years now since the new owners came in, is even with all that money, they've never dominated the Premier League. They've never won it back to back. They've always won it. They've only won it 3 times, I think, in that period. So they will look now to try and get a dominant spell in the Premier League and maybe have 5 or 6 victories in the next 10 years, and then they can say they're the main team in England. And yeah, the Champions League is always a tough one because, like I said, it only takes one mistake and it's over, you know. So it's they'll keep building and they'll keep pushing for it, and that'll be their main aim. When they do reach that, then I'm sure they will settle and they'll be happy with what they've had. But it's just going to be, until they win it, it's just going to be constant investment, I think, until they do. And
the Champions League talk aside, when you are engaging in that debate as to which side is the greatest Premier League of all time, greatest Premier League team of all time, you can't really put City in that bracket outside of how well they look when they're playing and how enjoyable they are to watch and the brand of football they play. They can't be rivaled alongside the Manchester United team that won 3 in a row on 2 different occasions. Chelsea winning 2 in a row under Jose Mourinho. Like, you really have to go at the very least back to back, don't you, to be considered a great team?
He's touched it there. I'd probably go with Richard on that. I think it probably is the case. It's about creating maybe a bit of a dynasty now, a bit of a legacy going forward. Next 2 or 3 years, say 3 years, they've got to secure at least 2 more Premier League titles during that 3 year spell.
You need to be dominant.
Yeah, that's what it is. And then, of course, you've got to be having a serious crack at it. So yeah, I think that's only natural. That is where they are heading, and it's maybe something that Richie has touched about as well. The strength on the squad is probably key to that as well.
Just one final thing on Guardiola before we let you go, Richard. He's getting an awful lot of credit this season for the amount of improvement, the levels of improvement that he's engineered in a lot of the players in his squad. The standout guys would be Raheem Sterling, for example. The way Gundogan has slipped into the team after coming back from that knee injury, and he's had such a storming end of the season. Kyle Walker, it looks like he's well worth every penny they invested in the £50 million they paid Tottenham for him at full back. Fabian Delph is a midfielder who's won a Premier League title for City at left back. He deserves an awful lot of credit for getting the absolute best out of his players.
He does do, and the players that you mentioned there are all good players anyway. You know, he's just brought the best out of them, and also the formation that he uses, I think, gives them the opportunity to express themselves. He wants people to play. He wants people to enjoy their football when they're playing it, and you can see it in the players. But more than whatever happens on the pitch, it's the effort that they must put in on a daily basis in training, because to continually play at that high level is amazing, and the demands that he puts on them. So he must be a great character, that he's demanding so much of these people, and they're returning and giving them everything they've got. And for the players, I suppose, all they can say is, well, we've won the league now. We've won the league. I've given everything I possibly can. The man just told me we won the league, and we've won the league. So it's a bit of trust between him and his players, and that comes with the reputation he's had throughout the last 10 years, that people want to play for him. People want to be part of what he's doing, and yeah, it's like nobody wants to be out of that team, because, you know, as soon as you don't perform, you're either out the door, or they can possibly sign another guy for 50, 60 million, wherever it is. So you've always got to be on your toes, and I think it's a credit to the players that they have been, and it's a credit to the manager that he's kept them on that high level all season.
Richard, brilliant stuff as always. Thanks a million for making the time for us.
Cheers, lads. Thanks very much.
A lot of texts coming in at 53106 for 30 cents, and on Twitter and Facebook as well. We'll get to them after the ads, and then after 8 o'clock it is Monday Night Rugby.
Off the ball on News Talk. Tile Style know all about bathrooms. Whether it's functional German design or Italian passion and flair, they have it all. Showers, taps, baths, radiators and more in a range of styles to suit your home. And we haven't even mentioned their stunning wood flooring collections yet. Tile Style gives you all the choice and quality you need in bathrooms, wood, tiles and stone. Their amazing showroom is just off the M50 at exit 10. Call in for some expert advice or log on to tilestyle.ie.
I'm Dan, owner, MD and employee of the month here at CD Shack. Some people say to me CDs are over, I say go on out with that. Just last week I sold 2 Kenny Rogers albums and the Beyonds to a lad